Guys, it's Mars Sports. It's your boy Marshall. It is week 2 of college football predictions, and oh boy, what a week it was. So first off, I got like 82.5%, 82.42% of my predictions correct. I went, I believe it was 75 wins and correct, or 75 games predicted correctly and 16 not predicted correctly. So there's that. I will be posting the overall record very soon. So yeah. But yeah, guys, today we're gonna predict some more college games because yes, I finally have time to do it. It's Wednesday. I have time recording this, so let's do this. And yes, NFL picks either up by now or we'll be posting very soon. Had to do some adjustments, you know what I mean? Yeah. Anyways, let's freaky fracking do this. So I'll go over. It won't be 2 hours long, I promise. But for the game this week, the teams that are on bye are Air Force, Notre Dame, and TCU. So actually, I'm just gonna go over all these teams right now. Air Force got to beat Bucknell. That was expected. Notre Dame did lose to Miami, but that's a really good Miami team. I think and their defense actually looks good. So tell you what, and TCU, man, I'm sorry, but I completely disrespect them for not picking them because, man, they blew out North Carolina, man. Treat them like an FCS team. Treat them like Georgia treated them. Okay, I'm sorry, but anyways. But yeah, TCU won their game in a very demanding way, that's for sure. So, yeah. Those are the teams that are on bye. Very random time of bye, but yeah. Also, Stanford's technically on bye week last week, so yeah. First up, we have could be a sneaky good matchup. We got James Madison versus Louisville. James Madison got the win against Weber State in pretty demanding form. They're looking really good this year, and I think they could be. Honestly, I think they could hang on with Louisville or even beat them. Honestly, I think they're really good. They could be that group of 5 team that represents in the playoffs. Yeah. Which would be really impressive considering it's their third year in the FBS. Yeah. Louisville on the other, wasn't this the one that had a fight? Louisville on the other hand, they looked good in the game last week. I forgot Eastern Kentucky. I mean, to be fair, it's East Kentucky. I mean, they were going to beat him anyway. Obviously, they're going to beat him by a lot of points. So y'all knew it was coming, but Louisville looking good. Miller Moss. I mean, he hit 2 interceptions last week. Maybe he can improve on that. So I feel like he had some issues. He looked good. Points at USC. Well, he had some issues there too. That's why I benched him for Jamie Miata instead. So yeah. But who am I going with? I think Louisville wins this. I think it would be a close game, though, honestly. 79% with them as well. This could be a big test for JMU if they can be that group of 5 team that goes into the playoffs. So, yeah. We have NIU versus Maryland. Hey, man, if NIU goes in their week 2 form from last year, they're winning this game. But NIU barely beat Holy Cross last week. And to be fair, this team lost a lot of people. So, yeah. And Maryland, on the other hand, they dominated FAU last week. FAU is actually supposed to be a decent team this year, from what I can tell. But Maryland beat them up, so credit to them. I mean, this is not Big 12 play yet, not Big 10 play yet. So yeah, but I think Maryland is going to win this game. NIU could pull off some magic. Again, this is actually a much worse team than Notre Dame was last year. But NIU is a much worse team than they were last year. I mean, a much more uncertain, I guess is the better way to put it. I'm not going to jump the gun and say they're a terrible team. Because, I mean, they haven't lost the game technically. So. But just a lot of new there. So I'm going to go Maryland. 83% go with them as well. Western Illinois, Northwestern. Western Illinois got demolished by Illinois last week. Northwestern did not look very good against Tulane. Preston Stone, former SMU quarterback, threw 4 interceptions. 4 interceptions. That is embarrassing, especially against a group of 5 teams. Yes, it's Tulane. They're one of the best group of 5 teams out there. But still, come on, bro. I do think they will get their revenge this week. Or avenge that loss. Because it's Western Illinois. They're going to beat them. Give me Northwestern. 93% go with them as well. EWU versus Boise State. Eastern Washington. Who they put last week? Incarnate Word. They lost to them. I believe Incarnate Word lost to... I think it was Nichols they lost to. So yeah, but East Washington trying to get some momentum going. Boise State, on the other hand, looked terrible in their game last week. The South Florida, they let them score 34 unanswered points. So, Boise, not very good so far. They're way out of the top 25 at this point. But I think they will get the win this week. Give me Boise State, 91% of them as well. Yeah. Moving on to the Saturday slate, we have Florida International versus Penn State. Florida International actually beat up on their FCS team this time. Like last year, they lost to Monmouth. So yeah, they beat up Bethune Cookman. So credit to them for at least doing that. It's supposed to be good. It's supposed to be a solid team this year. Penn State, let's be real, we all expect them to beat at Nevada. So yeah, but I expect them to beat up FIU as well. 88% got them as well. I think Penn State wins that game by a lot. I mean, there's a reason why they're 41.5-point favorites. Good Lord. Yeah, that's actually crazy. San Jose State versus Texas. We'll admit, San Jose State was kind of a disappointment last week. I thought they'd beat Central Michigan. I thought they could be a contender from out west. I'm not saying they're not going to be, but, like, not a great start. You lose to Central Michigan. Central Michigan's not a terrible team, but, like, I mean, I thought this team could potentially win the Mountain West this year, but we'll see. I mean, they could cover, but I don't think it's coming against Texas. Yes, Texas only scored. Yes, San Jose actually scored more points than them. Texas did not look. Their defense looked amazing last week. That's for sure. But their offense, very, very shaky. Archman did not look very good out there. Their one touchdown was a throw was a catch by Parker Livingstone, former Lovejoy High School wide receiver, who I've seen play in person, I think once or twice. Yeah. So yeah, but give me a UT. All right, so the next one. Why is this still recording, bro? Sorry. All right. Anyway, Illinois versus Duke. Illinois. What the heck? It looks like this says they're number one. That's just not true. But Illinois blew out Western Illinois as expected last week, and it's actually an underrated matchup here. Playing Duke, who I think Duke looked kind of shaky to start the first half against Elon, but then he really got going the second half. So there's that. But I think this could be an interesting game between like two dark horse teams, I guess. Yeah. So I'm going to go Illinois win this one. 71% go with them as well. East Texas A&M, Florida State. East Texas A&M lost to SMU last week. Got blown out. Well, actually, they scored 13 points. I'll give them that. Florida State, man, thank you. Thank you so much, Florida State, bro. You're the reason why Alabama's dead. Yes, they beat Alabama last week, and it was glorious. I watched that game. Amazing. Tommy Castellanos looks really good. He even passed the ball much. He just ran it most of the time. He just cooked Alabama's defense. So, yeah. Florida State could be a serious title contender, that's for sure. Or, like, for the ACC at least. So, yeah. So, give me Florida. Obviously, Florida State's going to win this one. 90% of them as well. Imagine it was East Texas A&M. No, not Texas A&M. East Texas A&M. Formerly Texas A&M Commerce. Yeah, anyways. Here we go. We got the Cyhawk rivalry. We've got Iowa taking Iowa State. Iowa beat UAlbany last week, and she scored 34 points. Look at Iowa go. They scored more than like 2 points. There's that. They're coming for revenge after losing to Iowa State last year. Iowa State, on your hand, looks really good, I think. They beat K-State and South Dakota. They beat up South Dakota. It's actually a good FCS program. And it's from South Dakota, so I assume they're good, but yeah. But I think this will be an interesting game. I'm going to take Iowa State, especially being at home this year. 67% go them as well. Why are they in the hallway? Sorry. We got Baylor taking on... Okay, sorry. We got Baylor taking on SMU. Baylor, I think... Baylor is supposed to... I mean, I think... Last week, they definitely... I thought they'd win against Auburn. All right, next up, we've got Baylor and SMU, Classic Southwest Conference matchup. Baylor, I mean, they put Auburn last week, and I will admit, I thought they'd win that game. But Troy Robertson looked really good, and he threw 419 yards and 3 touchdowns. So that's... Yes, completion percentage wasn't great. I mean, hey, man, 3 touchdowns any game is really good, even if you lose it. But, yeah. Baylor definitely looking for revenge this week. Or I don't know necessarily, or try to avenge the loss this week. So, yeah, but I think they're going to be a good team still. This is a big game for them. If they win this game, that'll be a huge momentum shift there. SMU, on the other hand, they played East Texas A&M last week, and they beat them like expected. So, yeah. But SMU, I mean, this is their first, like, big team they're playing, and they got them. They also they This is one of their 2 out of conference Power 4 opponents going to play TCU in the final, the final Iron Skillet game for at least the time being. So, yeah, you get to play. You get to. These are basically, if you're any TCU fan out there, you probably want both these teams to lose. So I just realized that. But yeah, SMU, we'll see how they do. It's going to be interesting to see how they do against Baylor and all that. Baylor's looking to be a good team this year, so yeah. When I pick for this game, I'm kind of conflicted. I think either of these teams can win. SMU played East Texas A&M last week, so they might not be exactly prepared for Baylor. Baylor played Auburn, who's supposed to be. It was actually decent. It would actually be a decent team this year. So yeah, I'm actually gonna go Baylor to win this one. 27% go with them as well. That one's tough though. Honestly, I could see either winning. Now I got Kennesaw State versus Indiana. Hey man, I'll give Kennesaw State credit. They almost beat Wake Forest last week. But I think it's more of Wake Forest not being that good of a team. But Kennesaw State, man, hey man, I'm just saying, maybe they improve and maybe if they can at least have that defensive performance against the CSA post, they can win a few games. So, yeah. Indiana, on the other hand, they're a little underwhelming last week against Old Dominion. I mean, they won the game by 13 points, but still, I expect them to beat the crap out of them. But yeah, I do think Indiana's going to win this week. 90% go with them as well. This is a tune-up game for them. Yeah, it's Kent State versus Texas Tech. Guys, it's official. Kent State won a football game before GTA 6. Bro, Kent State actually won a football game. It's the first one they've won since 2023. They're already a better season than last year. So no matter what happens the rest of the season. But Kent State, I mean, they barely beat Merrimack, but still. A win's a win, man. Congrats to Kent State. Finally get some momentum going their way. With that being said, they'll play Texas Tech, who beat the crap out of Arkansas Pine Bluff last week. They're looking to be a really good team this year, so yeah. I'll go Texas Tech to win this one. 92% on them as well. Now we got Virginia versus North Carolina State. This is a very weird circumstance in this game. These are 2 ACC opponents, but the catch is this will not count towards their in-conference record. You're like, what? Well, turns out Virginia and North Carolina State really wanted to play each other no matter what. So they schedule matchups with each other. But the thing is, they're not going to count towards their conference record because the ACC only has 8 conference games. So this would be a 9th for them, and this one's not going to count because they scheduled this matchup. So very weird circumstance. I don't know why they're doing that, but what do I know? Because you might as well just wait till they play each other because you have to play each other at some point. So yeah. Virginia actually looked good in their game last week. They beat up Coastal Carolina. In NC State, they got their revenge on East Carolina last week. East Carolina made a comeback in the end, but North Carolina State had the whole time. So yeah. But, I mean, it's a home game for NC State. I might need to go Virginia to win this one. 29% got them. So I actually saw they got a vote in the AP poll, so maybe something's welling up there. So, yeah, plus Virginia's got to get going. Virginia's got to get going at some point, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah. Got Central Michigan versus Pitt. Hey, man, Central Michigan beat San Jose team I thought was going to be really good this year. Wish they could still be really good, obviously. But, yeah. With Central Michigan, I mean, they could compete with Pitt, but I mean, it's Pitt. Pitt beat the crap out of Duquesne last week, so I mean, there's that. They're the first win in a while, but I know they lost to another MAC team. Why does this thing keep on getting off the charger? I'm not even touching anything. So yeah, overall, I'm gonna go Pitt to win this one. 90% go this one. They're ACC versus MAC. It's kind of hard to not unless yeah. UConn versus Syracuse. UConn, I mean, they beat up Central Carolina State. Or Central Connecticut State, sorry. So I think this team is bound to be a good team this year. I mean, UConn was good last year. They beat North Carolina in their bowl game. So yeah, I think they could be good. Syracuse, on the other hand, I mean, they didn't look great in their game last week. I mean, at least they scored. But yeah, they scored 26 and all. But Tennessee had that game the whole time. Honestly, I think this game's going to be pretty close, but I don't really trust UConn with Power 4 opponents in the regular season, so I'm going to go with Syracuse. 70% go them as well. I think UConn can win it, though. I'll be honest with you. But, sorry. Now I got Northwestern State versus Minnesota. Northwestern State actually won a game. It's like Kent State, bro. They actually won a game. It was against Alcorn State. I feel like they lost every single game last year. Congrats to Northwestern State actually winning the game. Minnesota, on the other hand, Buffalo definitely played them pretty close, relatively close last week. Minnesota got get done in the end, but Buffalo's a good team. I think they could be a contender for the MAC this year. So yeah. That being said, I think Minnesota's going to beat the brakes off Northwestern State. 91% good with them as well. But hey, congrats to Northwestern State on winning the game. Liberty versus Jacksonville State. Liberty beat Maine last week. Was kind of a weird game. I thought they beat them by more, but Liberty is definitely, I'd argue, the front runner to win the CUSA this year. It's either them or Western Kentucky at this point. This is wire actually dying on me. Sorry. Yeah. Jacksonville State, on the other hand, they almost beat. They had a chance to beat UCF last week, so I'll give them that. But UCF's not supposed to be a good team. Let's be real. Jacksonville State, I could definitely see win this game. Who I think's gonna win this game? I have a weird feeling Jacksonville State might win it, but I'm gonna trust my gut and go Liberty. 77% got them as well, but I did. Although Kennesaw State beat Liberty last year, so what do I know? Liberty can lose to anyone. Let's be real. Utah State versus Texas A&M. Utah State beat UTEP last week in a future in-conference opponent. So again, that Texas A&M, yes, they beat UTSA by 18 points. UTSA was hanging on though. I'll be completely honest with you. UTSA gave a run for their money at points, but then A&M pulled away in the end. So just something to be looked out for there. I think UTSA is supposed to be a good team this year, but still. I'm going to go A&M to win this game. 87% of them as well. I'm sure they'll be fine this week. Oh, that'd be hilarious. They lost to Utah State. All right, Western Carolina versus Wake Forest. Western Carolina, they almost lost to Gardner-Webb. They lost to Gardner-Webb last week. So, but they have given they gave North Carolina State run for the money last week. They're taking on the Wake Forest team who did not look good against Kennesaw State of all teams. So their defense did fine. Let Kennesaw only score 9, but the offense only scored 10. That's a little concerning. Robbie Ashford didn't get a single touchdown last week. Well, to pass, he actually got a rushing touchdown. But that was the only touchdown in the whole game. So, yeah. Did Kennesaw score any touchdowns? I don't know. Very weird game last week. I do think Wake Forest will win this week. 92% of them as well. Okay, Howard versus Temple. Howard, a.k.a. P. Diddy University. Yes, that's where P. Diddy went to college at, I believe. Yeah, I believe that's where he went to college. So, yeah. But they beat Florida A&M last week in the exact same score at the Kennesaw Wake Forest game, ironically. So, they are taking on Temple, who looked really good against UMass. Yes, UMass sucks, but still. I'll go Temple. 94% got them as well. Maybe their coach that was at St. Houston last year. Maybe it's turning around, that's for sure. So, yeah. That could be, maybe at least you make them look better, that's for sure. 94% go with Temple as well. I'm going to go with them too. So, yeah. We got Idaho State versus New Mexico. Oh, Idaho State lost. Come on, you had your momentum, bro. Idaho State, though, did give UNLV a run for their money last. They put their really good game against UNLV. So, they could definitely have a shock against New Mexico. Mexico, on the other hand, they lost to Michigan. But they didn't lose by that much. It was only 17, which is, considering it's Michigan, it's not terrible. Yeah. So, yeah, overall, I will go New Mexico. 88% go with them as well. Now we got Grambling State, aka fake Georgia, taking on Ohio State. Grambling State, they beat the crap out of whoever they played last week. Lang, I don't even know who that is. So, Grambling definitely could be one of those decent FCS teams this year. I believe they're HBC. Yeah, they're HBCU. I remember LSU playing a few years ago. So, yeah, and Ohio State, on the other hand, beating Texas 2 times in a row, that's impressive, bro. And they did not let down Lee Corso, that's for sure. Which Lee Corso went out very well, I know. And we'll always be thankful for Lee Corso. He was amazing. Always love Lee Corso. Wish him the best in retirement. So, yeah. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, I watched that game there, man. That was... What a show they put together, man, for Lee Corso. Anyways, Ohio State. Grambling won their game last week. And they scored a lot of points. But Ohio State's going to beat the brakes off Grambling. I'm sorry. How is only 86% going with them? Probably like 99 or something. Maybe they think it's Georgia. Maybe some delusional people think it's Georgia. But yeah. But Ohio State. I just saw Grambling, like LSU scored like 72 on Grambling a few years ago with Jay Daniels, of course. Yeah. I think Ohio State wins this game. 86% go with them as well. They could just say they beat Georgia. Speaking of, Georgia and Austin Peay are playing each other. Austin Peay, credit to them, man. They beat Military State. Not just that, they beat them up. beat by 20 points. Yeah, that means that Middle Tennessee's not very good. But they're probably terrible at this point. But man, 2 touchdowns for Parson, not Michael Parson. Yeah, but they're playing Georgia this week, and Georgia beat the crap out of me last week, aka Marshall. So yes, Marshall lost everyone, but still, Georgia beat them up. So yeah, but Austin Peay, yes, they beat Middle Tennessee State last week, but Georgia is not Middle Tennessee State, not even close. So Georgia's gonna win. 91%. Could you imagine Austin Peay wins this? It would be 2 FBS opponents. Here you go. You take it to the FBS. You beat 2 FBS opponents. But yeah, Georgia's gonna win that game. That's for sure. Then we got Oklahoma State versus Oregon. Oklahoma State won their first game since they beat Tulsa last year. They scored 27 UT Martin, which I guess it is what it is. But step in the right direction. So good enough. But they're playing Oregon. Oregon beat up Montana State last week, who was actually a really good FCS team last year. So yeah, so I'm gonna go Oregon to win this one. 81% going as well. If this was 2 years ago, or Oklahoma State would for sure have a shot. But yeah, then we got Troy versus Clemson. Troy beat Nicholls State last week by 18 points. So I'll give them that. I mean, Nicholls State also beat Incarnate Word, so there's that. Clemson, on the other hand, tough game for their offense last week. They went down to my Bayou boys, man. Let's freaking go. We freaking won an opening game. I'm sorry, I couldn't hold on my excitement for much longer. They lost LSU last week at home, which, yes, that's a loss to the record. I still think that Clemson's going to be a great team this year. Their offense definitely looked shaky last week. K-Club only completed half his passes. Yeah, not even a single touchdown. But that's what happens when we run the LSU's defense. I can't believe I'm actually saying that. % go with them as well, so... Yeah, Clemson will get a win this week. To be fair, Clemson hasn't been great in opening games either. So, yeah. We got our first SEC and conference game of the year. Is Wire officially giving up on me? Dude, what the heck? That would help a little bit if it was actually plugged in all the way. Ole Miss, Kentucky. Kentucky actually won this game last year, even though they were terrible. That's actually the only in conference game they won all year. Ole Miss is coming in. I mean, a little bit of questionable team, but I mean, they beat up Georgia State. But I mean, unless you're Vandy, everyone does that. But I mean, I know they had that guy steal the chain. It's kind of interesting to say the least. But Ole Miss looking good to come in this week. Kentucky, how did Austin Simmons do? He was definitely. He had to have some good moments and moments, like 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I mean, at least you got. But God, I can't talk. Sorry, Austin Simmons looks decent, but like he better have some more consistency, I guess. Kentucky, on the other hand, Let's be real. They didn't look great against Toledo last week. Yes, Toledo's Toledo, I think, is going to be a good team this year. But, I mean, to a MAC team, I think at least they didn't do what Mississippi State did and just let Toledo score all they want on them. So, yeah. Kentucky won it last year, and it was actually at Ole Miss. So, but I do think Ole Miss will get there, man. 71% give them as well. Okay. East Tennessee. We got Vandy's daddies, ETSU, taking on Tennessee. Okay, McNamara. Okay, who I think it is. He transferred to East Tennessee? Interesting. Maybe he wants a real offense to be with. You know, Iowa's offense had some good moments last year. They beat Murray State last year. I'm surprised. That's what happened to him. Ken McNamara went to East Tennessee of all places. Okay. They beat Murray State last week by a good amount of points. Yeah. Tennessee beat up Syracuse last week, but I do think Tennessee's going to win. They're not as susceptible as Vandy is. Yeah, 94% go with them as well. So, yeah. All right. Moving on. Now we got Gardner-Webb taking on Georgia Tech. Gardner-Webb, they beat Western Carolina last week in a very high scoring game. But yeah, they're taking on Georgia Tech, who looked very shaky to start the game against Colorado, but they ended up winning it in the end on the road. So impressive win there. Georgia Tech is bound to be a good team this year, and I think they will take care of business against Gardner Webb. 95% got them as well. So yeah. All right, sorry. Oh my God! Stop texting me. Sorry, so many freaking notifications, man. Now I got a weird matchup here. Miami, I literally had gotten 3 calls since this video. 2 from Patel, or Yush, my boy Yush. 1 from my mom because dinner was ready. Miami, Ohio taking on Rutgers. Miami, Ohio got shut up by Wisconsin of all teams. Yeah, they only let the score 17, but still. Not a great start, but it could be worse. At least defensively. Rutgers, on the other hand, very, very scary game last week against Ohio. Ohio actually gave a really good run for their money. I think this will be a close game. Ohio, I think, is a good team. I think they could win the MAC this year. I'm going to go Rutgers. 89% go with them as well. Yeah. I got Delaware and Colorado. Sorry. Delaware looked... they had a slow start against Delaware State last week, but they ended up winning in the end. They actually played pretty well towards the end of the game. Of course, they first wins the FBS team, so that's pretty cool. Colorado, on the other hand, lost a close game against Georgia Tech last week. For Georgia Tech making all those mistakes, they probably got lost by a bit more. But yeah, I do think Colorado will win this game. 82% go with them as well. Imagine Delaware wins. Like, hey, we're ready for the FBS. Don't do JMU, bro. Just completely go off in the first year. Yeah. I got Kansas taking on Missouri. Rivalry renewed, bro. We've all been waiting for this rivalry to come back. Classic Big 12 rivalry. Kansas is underrated, in my opinion. I'm surprised they haven't really played anyone. Fresno State beat Georgia Southern last week by a lot. And they beat it. But, Kansas, man, they look good, bro. So, Jalen Daniels has 7 touchdowns already. That's from 2 games, obviously. But Kansas looks good, man. They go on the road to Missouri. Missouri, they did their business against Central Arkansas, but demolished them, as expected. So, yeah, but we'll see how they can do against a former rival, actually current rival still, but former Big 12 rival. Yeah, but who I think is going to win this game? I think it's going to be actually a pretty close game. Matt Mitchell is actually at this game this week, so that's going to be exciting. This one's tough. I'm actually going to go Kansas. 39% go them as well. Missouri can win it, but I think Kansas is a hotter team at this point. Because let's be real, Missouri didn't really play. Played Central Arkansas. I don't know. We'll see. I think they look good in the game last week, but still. I got North Texas taking out Western Michigan. North Texas put a beating on Lamar last week, 51-0. Yeah, it's FCS team, but still pretty impressive, especially considering that their defense was kind of a question. Yes, they still kind of a question because they never played an FBS opponent yet. Northwestern Michigan, who lost to Michigan State last week, but they only let Michigan State score 23, so it could be worse. Yeah. Well, thanks for winning this game. I'm going to go North Texas. 70% got them as well. Shout out to the Mean Green, by the way. Fresno State and Oregon State. Fresno State, man, they proved me wrong. They came out firing hot against Georgia Southern, who I thought they'd lose to. And they beat up Georgia Southern, beat them by 28 points. Dang. And they're taking out Oregon State this week. Oregon State lost to Cal last week. A game I thought they won. They actually got kind of beat up in that one. But Oregon State, I thought they would be a decent team. I think Murphy did not look great. He had 1 interception. He had a single touchdown and interception. So, yeah. Definitely for improvement, but I think that I'll say Oregon State wins this. 72% go with them as well. Definitely interesting team to watch. So, yeah. Because concerns don't happen, though. Considering what happened. Bowling Green taking on Cincinnati. Bowling Green did their business last week. They beat their FCS opponent. I believe it was Lafayette. So, not Louisiana Lafayette, but Lafayette. You only scored 26, but still. Taking on Cincinnati, who nearly beat Nebraska last week. Nebraska came in clutch in the end, but Cincinnati's defense actually doesn't look too bad. So, I'm going to go Cincinnati win this one. 85% go with them as well. But hey, man, Bowling Green played close to the Power 4 opponents last year. So they almost beat Penn State and Texas A&M. So who knows, man? Just saying. UAB, different coach, different circumstances, but still. UAB versus Navy. UAB looked very shaky against Alabama State last week. Let me score 42. Come on. That's an FCS team. Come on. They're taking on Navy, who beat up VMI last week. And I think Navy could win the AAC this year. Give me the Navy. 88% go with them as well. Lindenwood versus Appalachian State. Well, I don't know why their initials are JAC. I think it's been a glitch for a while. But Lindenwood, I mean, they lost to St. Thomas, I think that is. By like 22 points, I think. But yeah. But they're coming to App State. Yeah, they're coming to App State this week. App State beat up Charlotte last week at Tim Albin's first game there. And then, of course, basically the facto home game for Charlotte because they're still in the city of Charlotte. Yeah. I'm going to go App State to win. I think they'll put a beat on Linden. Or Jack, I'm sorry. At least that's what it says on here. At 94% go to Minnesota. It's more lopsided than Ohio State Grambling. That's hilarious. There's got to be people that think it's actually Georgia. Have Bryant and UMass taking on each other. Bryant lost to Mexico State last week, but I mean, they all had Mexico State only scored 19. Both these teams are coming off really rough times, man. Many consecutive losses. UMass, on the other hand, got beat up by Temple last week, and so I don't know if I have much faith in them, but I do think they will beat Bryant. 94% go to them as well. People, I don't know. I'm still surprised that was like 86% with the Grambling. No disrespect to Grambling at all. Great school and all that, but like they're nowhere on the same level as Ohio State. St. Francis versus Buffalo. St. Francis got shut out by Louisiana Monroe last week, so I think the offense going. They're playing a Buffalo, I think, is a better team at this point. Actually, Minnesota run for their money. Yeah, they didn't win it, but still. Buffalo, like I said, I think will be contending to win the MAC this year. I'll go Buffalo. 95% of them as well. This is like the week like a bunch of people play like cupcake teams. I got battle for I-35 right here. Got Texas State taking on UTSA. Texas State beat up East Michigan last week, so a good win there. UTSA, on the other hand, they look good against Texas A&M. Yeah, they love to score a lot in EM. They don't know what Texas A&M, so I'll give them a lot of credit, especially on the road at A&M. Pretty impressive. There's that, but with that being said, I think they will be kind of gassed out from last week. I think Texas State could win the Sun Belt this year. I'll go Texas State. 39% go them as well. I think UTSA will be much better in this game this year, though. I think they could win it, too. So, yeah. Do not disturb. Sorry. There we go. Okay. Just so I don't have to seal that. I'm just getting blasted notifications, huh? Yeah. Middle Tennessee State versus Wisconsin. I'm sorry. Middle Tennessee State looked like complete dog crap last week. You got beat up by an FCS team. It's not even in the Dakotas, bro. Like, come on, bro. Like, that's not a good time. I mean, you gotta hope those uniforms work, bro. But yeah, Middle Tennessee State not looking good. Wisconsin, on the other hand, they shut out Miami Ohio last week, the MAC runner-up, so I'll give them that. With that being said, though, they only scored 17 points. I thought Billy Edwards was their quarterback. Maybe it was just a backup. Yeah, okay. Wisconsin, I think they will win this game. I mean, come on, it's Middle Tennessee State. They suck. 89% go for them as well. So, yeah, there's that. West Virginia, or West Virginia, is shout out to the guy from NASCAR Weekly Podcast chat. West Virginia taking on Ohio. West Virginia beat up Robert Morris last week, as expected. Rich Rod gets his first win back at West Virginia. They're taking on an Ohio team, I think, looked good against Rutgers last week. I mean, yeah, they didn't win, but still. I think Ohio actually can have a shot winning this game. I think there's bound to be an upset every once in a while. West Virginia's only a 3.5-point favorite. They got a lot new on that team. Yes, Ohio doesn't have Tim Allen anymore, but got their returning coordinators. You know what? Might be a really bold pick. Give me Ohio to win this game. 20% go this one. Yes, they might be gassed out from last week, but I think Ohio, is going to win this game. Very bold pick, but yeah. How am I still getting notifications? Y'all got Northern Iowa, I think that is. Taking out Wyoming. Wyoming pitched the first shutout of the year last week, or the season. It was last week against Akron. First one to do it. So I don't know why I'm keeping blasting notifications. Butler, well, you and I beat Butler last week by 24 points. Dang. Taking a Wyoming team who look good. Their defense looked good against Akron, but it's Akron, though. Akron sucks. There's a reason. Well, it's the reason why they're not bowl eligible. They're not posting eligible or bowl eligible at all. It's not because they suck. It's because they suck academically. They don't. It's not because they suck at football. Because they suck at academically. Yeah, but hold up. What the heck? Why is this thing? What? Cade Anderson, former LSU pitcher. Yeah, but give me Wyoming to win this one. I think they'll win. 89% go with them as well. Good God, stop texting me. Sorry, I'm not mad at them. It's just I'm recording, man. All right, now here's what I think would be a sneaky good matchup: South Florida versus Florida. South Florida, man. I mean, they looked really good against Boise State last week. And they beat them up. 34 unanswered points on them. It was a ranked team. South Florida, man, I think they could be a really good team this year. They could be that group of 5 team that represents in the playoffs. With that being said, they have a really tough next 2 games considering they got Florida and then Miami next week. So yeah. South Florida, man, I think they get Florida representing Florida. Shut out Long Island. I mean, they look great. I mean, obviously it's Long Island, so I assume they're gonna beat them anyway. But I think this will be a really close game, honestly. Florida, I think South Florida's going to cover the spread. I think honestly it'll be by 1 score. Give me Florida to win, though. I do think South Florida's going to make it close. 78% go with them as well. So, yeah. I got Sacramento State versus Nevada. Sacramento State, this was supposed to be their welcome year to the FBS. They didn't do very good in the season last year. Sacramento State, I mean, they were supposed to go to FBS next year, but okay, I just said that. But they got denied by the NCAA for some reason. But yeah, we take on Nevada, who got beat up by Penn State last week. But hey, at least you scored 11 points. I mean, any team that scores 11 points is usually not a good sign, but still. I'll take Nevada. 91% go with them as well. Prayers go out to Sacramento State, though. Hopefully they get an FBS one day. Now we got a little in-state matchup here. Arkansas State versus Arkansas. Arkansas State beat SEMU last week by 18 points. I mean, not terrible. So, not bad. So, a good matchup for them last week. Yeah, they scored 24, but still. Arkansas State looked pretty good last week. Jalen Rander scored 3 touchdowns, so he looked really good. And 81 and really good completion percentage, no interceptions. So Jalen Rander looking really good. He could be the difference maker for Arkansas State in this game, but they are taking on Arkansas, who Taylor Green scored 6 touchdowns. Yeah, it was Alabama A&M, but still. Arkansas looked really good last week. I'm gonna go Arkansas to win this one. 90% go them as well, but that'd be hilarious. Arkansas State beat them, please do. Now Jacksonville State versus Southern Miss. Jacksonville State beat Hampton last week by 2 scores, so they're on a really hot streak compared to last year. They're taking on a Southern Miss team that actually gave Mississippi State run for their money, but then Mississippi State ran away with it in the end. But lots of new to this team. Charles Huff's here, brought a lot of his guys. So yeah, I do think Southern Miss will actually win this game. 76% go as well. I think they'll finally win a game. All right, Cal Poly. Oh my God, the initials, bro. I'm sorry. Sorry. I should not be laughing, bro. I'm just okay. Anyways, see, I can't even say it with a straight face, bro. Sorry. Cal Poly taking on Utah. Actually, should I say number 25 ranked Utah. Cal Poly, I mean, they looked great last week. They beat up San Diego. Not San Diego State, San Diego. There's actually 3 universities in San Diego. San Diego State, and UC San Diego. A lot of San Diegos. They're taking on Utah, who looked really good last week. They beat the crap out of Nico Yamayava and his money winning and all his money. So, yeah, prove that Nicky sucks. He was just in a good situation at at freaking Tennessee because Tennessee is actually a good team compared to UCLA. I'm going to take Utah to win this game. 90% going to win as well. Texas Southern taking on Cal. Texas Southern, they barely lost to Prairie A&M last week. They are taking on Cal, who beat Oregon State last week. Actually kind of surprised me that they beat them, but I thought Cal would be really bad this year. I mean, yeah, there's still a chance they could be, but still. The quarterback looked great. What's his name? Saga Puletsi Lee? I don't know. 3 touchdowns. So that's good stats right there. So, yeah, I'm going to take Cal to win this one. 94% go with them as well. Got Campbell versus Eastern Carolina. Campbell's lost a lot of games in a row. They lost against Rhode Island by 11 points. Eastern Carolina, NC State got their advantage, but ECU fell behind early and they just could not recover. But I do think ECU win this game. Wow, 96% go with them as well. Now we got Missouri State and Marshall. Both teams got demolished. Missouri State let USC score 73 on them. Good Lord. They're a brand new FBS team, to be fair, so still getting used to it. Marshall, on the other hand, they got beat up by Georgia. I mean, they didn't let them score 73, but still. I do think Marshall win this game. Listen, I know a lot of new on that team, but still. 87% go with them as well. We got FAMU versus FAU. Florida A&M, I mean, they barely lost to Howard last week. I'm not going to say the thing I said earlier. Sorry. But Florida, nothing against Howard or anything. Just it's kind of weird, kind of interesting how Pete Diddy went there. But Florida A&M though they lost to Howard last, but they're usually good, solid team. FAU who got beat up by Maryland last week. I do think FAU will avenge that. I think FAU will win. 88% go with them as well. North Carolina State, Old Dominion. North Carolina State lost to New Hampshire. I think that's New Hampshire. Yeah, about 17 points. Old Dominion actually did not look too bad against Indiana. Yeah, they lost by 13 points still. Since Indiana made the playoffs last year. Getting the credit, man. I'll take Old Dominion. 90% go with them as well. I got Bethel Cookman versus Miami. Bethel Cookman got destroyed by FIU last week. So, I mean, the thing on Miami, who actually looked really good in their game, man. I mean, their defense looks a lot better. Carson Beck looked good. I mean, 2 touchdowns. All that's good stuff. And CJ Daniels, man, former LSU wide receiver. What a catch, bro. That's crazy. Miami, though, I think they're set to be a really good team this year. They're actually the highest ranked ACC team right now. So that's good. Maybe they will be the best ACC team. So, yeah, but Miami, I think they're bound to be really good this year. I think it'll be them and Clemson in the ACC championship this year. We'll see at that age as well. I think Miami's going to score like 85 on them or something like that. 93% on them as well. I don't even know how much they're favored by. Now we got South Carolina State and South Carolina. A little insane matchup here. South Carolina State, I remember they made the Cricket Celebration Bowl last year against Jacksonville State. Yeah, they lost that game, but they're a good team. They beat Wofford last week by 1 point. South Carolina, on the other hand, looked a little iffy at points, but South Carolina, but they really got going at the end. Laura Sellers look at the end. And they beat Virginia Tech pretty handily, so yeah. And their defense looked good, so yeah, I'm going to go South Carolina, though. 94% got them as well. Oh, man. Now we have Army and Kansas State. Both teams have their issues. Let's be real. Army. How do you go from almost making the playoffs for getting destroyed by Notre Dame to losing to FCS Tarleton State? Listen, Tarleton's a good team, and I actually know some people that go there. At least some people from my school. I don't know them personally, but like I know people that go there. But how do you lose to Tarleton State at home, bro? After what happened last year, Army's clearly in a rebuild this year. I mean, the way Coleman get 2 interceptions. I mean, he rushed 100 yards for any touchdowns. I'll give him that at least. Yeah, there's that. Kansas State, on the other hand, very shaky. They lost to Iowa State, of course, in week 0. Sorry. Then they almost lost to North Dakota, bro. Like, what are you even doing at that point? Yeah, North Dakota's a good team, but still, you let them score 35 and nearly lose them. Kind of a red flag, if anything. But, I mean, you didn't lose to FCS. At least you didn't lose to the FCS team. So I'll give you the win this week. 78% go with them as well. Very questionable team, though, that's for sure. Maybe it's a jet lag. Who knows? But Iowa State looked great in their game, so what do I know? Yeah, I got almost Louisiana. Long Island taking on Eastern Michigan. Long Island got shut out by Florida last week, so, I mean, maybe they'll score some points this week. Today, Eastern Michigan got beat up by Texas State last week. They've been on a really, really, really bad streak lately, so I'm gonna go with EMU. 94% go with them as well. Western Kentucky at Toledo. Western Kentucky, I think, is definitely a contender to win this USA this year. I mean, they beat St. Hasty, they beat Northern Alabama. But that being said, they are taking on Toledo, who I think I'm still pretty high on Toledo. I know they lost to Kentucky last week, but they gave them a good game, so I'll give them that. So they got a solid team. I mean, Tucker Gleason, one touchdown, one interception. Definitely some stuff to be improved on, but hey, we'll see what happens. I think Toledo's going to win this game. 79% go with them as well. I think this could be a close game. Also, I think Western Kentucky might be my pick to win this USA at this point. But it's really early. You can't tell this USA. Let's be real. Wait till they play LSU, bro. All right, Houston versus Rice. Both undefeated. I don't even know the last time that happened. Houston shut out Santa Fe. Stephen F. Austin last week. Who has actually solid FCS team. So yeah, Carter Wegman scored 3 touchdowns last week. Yeah, there are only 3 touchdowns they scored, but still. Because I think those were only 3 touchdowns, unless they missed a point. But they're taking on the Rice team, who actually beat Louisiana last week. Very shocking. I saw it like, wait, what? But Louisiana Rice credit to them, man. They beat the former Sun Belt runner-up, so I'll give them credit there. So yeah. But with that being said, I do think Houston's going to win this rivalry game. 86% go with them as well. Classic Southwest rivalry as well. They got Northern Colorado taking on Colorado State. North Carolina, the defense looked great against Chadwick, I think that is. They only let them score 3. They beat up by 2 scores. Colorado State, on the other hand, you know what? They actually didn't look terrible against Washington. I think they can be a decent team again this year. They got Brandon Fowler Nicholas again. He's been there for a while. But I think Colorado State to win this game. 93% got them as well. I got North Carolina A&T taking on UCF. A&T has lost a lot of games around, including Tennessee State, without Eddie George, by the way. Eddie George was Tennessee State. They're taking on UCF, who barely beat Jacksonville State last week, but what do I know? I'm going to use UCF to win this game. 95% got them as well. Got Tulane taking on South Alabama. Tulane looked really good last week. They beat up Northwestern. Jake Retzoff, man, could do a lot with his legs. Of course, he had that controversy coming out of BYU. But he got 10 touchdown and a rushing touchdown. So Jake Retzoff looks good. South Alabama, on the other hand, that LSU Lopez, but they won against Morgan State last week, like 17 points. I mean, decent win there. But I'm going to go Tulane to win this one. 82% got them as well. It's just Tulane could make the playoffs. I'm just saying. Memphis at Georgia State. Memphis has been a really hot streak. When was the last time they lost the game? Was the last time they lost the game, was it to UTSA or something last year, where that dude broke his leg celebrating in the end zone? In the Alamo. So I remember when I walked in the Alamo Dome for marching band last year. I was like, hey, it's where the guy fell. Yeah. Hopefully he's okay, though. He probably recovered at this point. Memphis, though, they looked good, really good last week. They beat Chattanooga, as expected. Take on Georgia State. Yeah, Memphis will for sure be a contender in the AAC this year. Georgia State, on the other hand, clearly taking the Ole Miss dude's chain wasn't enough because they got destroyed by Ole Miss last week. So, yeah. But I'm going to go Memphis to win this one. 88% got them as well. But, hey, Georgia State, you got Vandy in a few weeks. So, or maybe even next week. I don't know. Got North Carolina versus Charlotte. North Carolina looked terrible in their game. TCU beat the crap out of them. I watched some of that game. I turned it off after. So, I watched the first drive. Dude, North Carolina looked really good. I thought North Carolina was about to beat up TCU, bro. And then TCU scored like 41 unanswered points. Let's just say, North Carolina's got a lot of ways to go. Bill Belichick is not going to fix your team overnight. Great coach, obviously, but he's not going to fix it overnight. It's a lot of stuff that we've worked on, that's for sure. But with that being said, Gio Lopez did not look good. I mean, he had that one drive, but that he went like 2 hours without completing a pass. Like, he got so bad they put a timestamp, bro. Like, that's embarrassing. And hopefully he's okay because I know he got injured. But former LSU player Max Johnson came out, finished the game. He scored a touchdown, so I'll give him that. Even though I remember he was terrible at LSU for the most part. But yeah, but they're taking out Charlotte. Charlotte got crushed. I mean, he also dealt with a new coach, Tim Albin. But like Charlotte, or like North Carolina, Tim Albin's not going to change Charlotte overnight. So yeah. But I will say North Carolina's going to win this game. 82% go with them as well. All right, Arizona State versus Mississippi State. Could be a potential trap game for Arizona State. Arizona State, dude, go away. Sorry. Arizona State, I mean, they beat Northern Arizona last week. Although I'm surprised they didn't beat them as much, but still, I mean, but still lots to be. I think lots to be deserved. Come on, what do you want? What do you want, bro? Okay. Oh, he's eating his food in here? Okay. And they're taking on Mississippi State, who actually won a game. Yeah, they beat Southern Miss, but they beat Southern Miss on the road, so I'll give them that. But I mean, Mississippi State, definitely a shaky team still, potentially. But I mean, hey, man, if anything's a indicator for it, definitely I think will be improvement this year. They almost beat Arizona State last year, but to be fair, Arizona State really started off really slow last year. But I think Arizona State's gonna win. 68% got them as well. Hey, nope, don't rub your butt on the carpet. Not in my room, bro. Okay, tell me how you really feel. All right, I'm gonna go up here. What are you doing, bro? Why are you rubbing yourself on the carpet? That's weird. So, my dog's in here. LSU. Louisiana Tech taking on LSU. Taking on number 3 LSU. Best team in the SEC, bro. I'm telling you right now. LSU's 37.5 point favorites. Louisiana Tech. Look good in their game last week at Southeast Louisiana. And they shut them out, actually, which that's a good sign because LSU's playing them in a few weeks. Yeah. Definitely a good one to start the season off. They're taking on LSU, who finally won an opening game. Defense looked amazing. Offense, yeah, they didn't score that much, but that's a good moment, especially against a great Clemson defense. LSU finally won an opening game. Actually, arguably the toughest one they've had to play in the last few years. Think about it. Mississippi State 2020 was at home. UCLA is not Clemson. Look, Florida State was both times at a neutral location. And USC was not that good last year. Yeah, but LSU, man, really good team. That defense looks amazing. Offense, yeah, they could score more, but I think offense looked good at points. I mean, yeah, they didn't score much, but it's against a great Clemson defense, to be fair. The LSU, man, they're looking really good. The best team in the SEC at this point. Some people even put them at number 1 in the country, which I can't argue with that. I'm an LSU fan. I can't argue with that, man. We had the most impressive win last week of anyone, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm wholeheartedly saying that. I'm going to go LSU to win this one, obviously. 93% got them as well. I think Louisiana Tech could be a solid team in this USA this year. We'll see, though. They're not going to have a shot for LSU. I'm sorry. But I'm not sorry because it's LSU. I can't apologize for liking my own team or loving my own team. Moving on. Michigan and OU. This is the matchup of the week, my friends. Michigan didn't look terrible, but I mean, they looked okay, I guess, in their game. They beat New Mexico State. They took care of business, I guess. Bryce Underwood looked decent last week with 1 touchdown, decent amount of yards. They're taking on OU. John Mathieu looked great last week. Besides that 1 interception, he got 3 touchdowns, 81.1% completion. Yeah, it was to Illinois State. I thought they'd score more on them, but still, definitely. Illinois State scored the same amount of points as Alabama did on them. Yeah, I think this would be an interesting game, though. This is really be a big telling point how OU's offense is, because they're playing a great Michigan defense. So although 17, Mexico scored 17, it's a little suspicious, but what do I know? I think Oklahoma wins this. I kind of hope they win this one, so Bryce Underwood could suck it. So if y'all don't know about the story about Bryce Underwood, search it up. 47% go with OU as well, but Michigan could definitely win this game too. We'll see though. Michigan has the higher rank, so who knows? Now we got Vanderbilt, Virginia Tech. Vanderbilt, man, I'm telling you, They might be the most underrated team in the SEC. But obviously, this game will be a big determining point how they do. How good of a team they are, because they played Charleston Southern. They're not very good. They dominated Charleston Southern last week. Diego Pavia, that 3 touchdowns. Dang, 80% completion? Give it to him, man. Maybe he's up to something. Then Virginia Tech, on the other hand, their offense was very shaky last week. Kyron Jones, 2 interceptions, not even half your completion, not even half your passes completed. Kind of sus right there. But I don't know, man. You know what? I'm going to say Vanderbilt wins this. Only 47% goes on. I think it's the exact same ratios as Michigan, ironically. Virginia Tech can definitely win this game. I think people are highly underestimating Vanderbilt, though. Because of Diego Pavia and the best tight end in the country, Eli Stowers. Yeah. Akron versus Nebraska. Akron got shut out by Wyoming, and they don't have anything to fight for this season. Honestly. Because, it's just a tough situation. I'm sorry to every Akron fan. I love y'all's mascot, though. I love the zip. Nebraska, on the other hand, they look good in their game. They look pretty good in their game last week. Offense can definitely be improved. I mean, they won the game, came in clutch when it mattered. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh, I thought it's a 47-point favorite. So 34.5-point favorite. You can't bet against that. Give me Nebraska. 92% go with them as well. Now I got Boston College and Michigan State. Boston College beat the crap out of Fordham. Dang. Beating by 8 touchdowns? Good lord, bro. And who's the quarterback? Longren got 4 touchdowns last week. They're taking on Michigan State. I mean, Aiden Childs looked decent. 1 touchdown. I mean, definitely improved on, but still. They beat Western Michigan last week. It wasn't like FAU. Yeah, their offense definitely needs to be improved on, but their defense could definitely carry it. But you know what? This might be a hot take. I'm going to say Boston College wins. 26% go with them. I think Michigan State will definitely have a shot, though. That's for sure. Now we got Southern Illinois versus Purdue. Southern Illinois, they are the FCS upsetters. If anyone, they're playing freaking... Oh, frick, I have to use... Okay, sorry. But Southern Illinois looked great last week. They beat, who's that team? I don't know who that says, but they looked great last week. They're usually a good team. I mean, they're consistent at points, but still. Taking on Purdue. Purdue finally won a game last week, and they actually shut out Ball State. So credit to them, man. I mean, I'll give them that. That's for sure. Purdue's definitely looking out there. I mean, they tied their win total from last year. So give me Purdue to win this one, though. 93% go this one. Yes, SIU could upset them. It could be FBS spoilers sometimes, but still. I think Georgia Southern versus USC. Georgia Southern did not look good last week. Got beat at Fresno State. I thought they'd win that game. They're taking on USC, who they beat the crap of Missouri State last week. So I don't think they're scoring 73, but I'll take USC 80% go with them as well. Georgia Southern's usually a good team, though. I don't know. Ball State versus Auburn. Ball State lost to Purdue, bro. What are you doing? Ball State, though, to be fair, not usually a successful team, but still. I mean, they haven't won many games. But was that NIU win the last time they won a game? Yeah. Taking on Auburn, and they're a 42.5-point favorite. It's Auburn of all teams. They beat Baylor last week, so on the road. So impressive win there. Maybe they're finally getting something going there. I'll take Auburn. 93% go with them as well. They got Charleston Southern versus Coastal Carolina. Charleston Southern got beat by Vanderbilt last week, and they've lost a lot of games in a row, including Florida State when they were terrible last year. Coastal Carolina got beat up by Virginia last year. They just haven't been the same since 2020. It's early 2020, sorry. But I'll take Coastal Carolina, 95% go with them as well. Their baseball team's great, obviously. Now we got chap game, baby. Louisiana Monroe on the road to 0-1 Alabama. It's glorious to say. They are not number 2 in the nation, like number 21, I think. Alabama did not look good last week. They let Florida State score a lot, and just Alabama, they're not the same without Nick Saban. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. I hate Alabama, but there's that. Louisiana Monroe looked good, really good last week. They shut out St. Francis, who actually beat Kent State last year. So, yeah. Now, with this being said, yes, Alabama 37.5-point favorites, but on the day I was born, November 17th, 2007, Louisiana Monroe went into Bryant-Denny Stadium and beat Alabama with Nick Saban as their coach. That was at least the last time. That was the last time Alabama lost to an out of conference opponent in the regular season. Unless you count Texas, which Texas in the SEC now, but that was in the Big 12. But I mean, let's go currently in the conference. But yeah, but anyway, Louisiana Monroe. I mean, will history repeat itself? Who knows? I hope it does. I'm gonna take Alabama here. 80% go with them, but hey, maybe 17, almost 18 years later, history repeats itself. That game is as old as me, by the way. It's glorious. UCLA take on UNLV. UCLA looked terrible last week. Nico's not that good quarterback. 50% completion, touchdown interception, not great. 106 yards. He just won the money. He doesn't give a crap about football at this point. They take on UNLV, who definitely looked better last week in Sam Houston State. I didn't know Sam Houston State was playing in a temporary stadium this year. I had no clue their stadium was getting renovated. So, yeah. But Anthony Calandria, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception on the year. So there's that. Who thinks to win this game? This one's tough. I think UNLV can win this one. It was last year's UNLV. I probably trust them more to win, but I'm actually going to UCLA. Wow, 46% go with them. I do think UNLV could win this game. That'd be hilarious, though, if they won. McNeese versus Louisiana. McNeese beat what? Who the heck is that? Beat up their opponent last week. They don't have a logo. That actually means they're. I don't know who they are. They have Louisiana, who actually this a huge disappointment last week, losing to Rice of all teams. Come on, Walker Howard did not look great. Didn't look good. Former LSU player, former LSU recruit, by the way. I think he danced with Brian Kelly, I believe. 45.5% completion, 1 interception. Not great. But I will take Louisiana win. 87% goal. So I'll be fair. Let's be fair. Look at the last 2 games. Blown up by Marshall, blown up by TCU, lost to Rice, who's never a good team. I'll take Louisiana win this one though. How many go with them? 87% go with them. So, yeah. Tulsa versus New Mexico State. I'll admit Tulsa actually impressed me last week. I will admit. They beat Abilene Christian by a lot of points, and this is the same. And Abilene Christian almost beat Texas Tech last year, so I'll give them credit for that. New Mexico State, on the other hand, they beat Bryant last week. Yeah, they didn't score much, but the defense looked good. So yeah, both defenses look good. Now, who thinks they'll win this game? I think Tulsa wins. I think after that win against Abilene Christian last week, I think they could do it. 74% goal as well. Yes, Abilene Christian is different this year, but still. Now we got University of Tennessee at Martin. UTM taking on UTEP. UTM lost to Oklahoma State last week. I mean, yeah, but they only let them score 27. Not the worst thing in the world. UTEP lost to Utah State last week, but I think they'll definitely be a better team this year. Give me UTEP. 94% go with them as well. Weber State versus Arizona. Weber State got beat up by James Madison last week. Arizona beat up Hawaii last week, who beat Stanford. Yes, Stanford's terrible, but still. I'm going to take Arizona. 95% go with them as well. San Diego State taking on Washington State. SDSU, they shut out Stony Brook last week, so good stuff there. They're taking on Wazoo, who kind of looks shaky against Idaho. So kind of suspicious there. Yeah, Idaho's a good FCS team usually, but still. And used to be an FBS. By the way, Rick Allen called that game last week. That's really cool. Former NASCAR announcer. I'm actually going to San Diego State to win this one. 29% got them as well. Washington State could definitely win it too. It's just Washington State looked very shaky this last week. Got Stanford taking on BYU. Stanford, oh my God. You lost to Hawaii. Come on, bro. Bro, they're terrible. I swear to God. BYU's 28.5 point favorite. Give me. Barrett Bachmeyer, 3 touchdowns, only 97 yards. Bro, imagine we could do more yards, more touchdowns. I mean, I guess it gets into play that much, but still. They set a very nice final score, 69-0 last week to Portland State. So, BYU will win. 87% got them as well. University of California at Davis, taking on Washington. I was thinking, why was I thinking Washington got an FCS point last week? UCF, why only 4 games in here? They beat Utah Tech in close games. Yeah, but Washington looked decent last week, and I thought they'd beat Colorado State more, but Colorado State's usually solid teams, yeah. I will take Washington win. 91% go with them as well. And last but not least, Sam Houston State versus Hawaii. Like I said, I didn't know Sam Houston's playing a temporary stadium this year. But definitely a slow start to the season. You're playing two tough teams, so I'll give you that. I'm taking Hawaii, who got blown out by Arizona. But hey, man, they beat Stanford, so I'll give them that. Just give me Hawaii to win. 88% going as well. It's just 11 p.m. is crazy, bro. I'm gonna be. I might be sleeping by then. I don't know. Because what channel is the LSU game on this week? I think it's SEC Network Plus. It's on streaming, so I don't know if I'm gonna watch that. Yeah, I'll probably watch a little bit of it, the LSU game, because they're gonna beat Louisiana Tech up. Let's be real. Knock on wood. Yeah. But yeah, that's gonna do it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe. Have a nice day. By the way, you might notice this video is in different parts. I don't have proper editing software right now because my computer broke. So once I get that, we'll actually have editing software. So that'll be good. So, yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe. Have a nice day. Goodbye. See you next one. Peace.